This is John Colo with DiscountJuicers.com. Today with another exciting episode for you. Today, I'm going to be juicing a giant cucumber. This thing is ginormous, guys. This is a 10-pound cucumber. This is known as an Armenian cucumber that I got from a local farm here. Today, I'll be juicing this entire cucumber in these two juicers. These are some of my favorite juicers that are on the planet at this time. That being said, the downside to this machine is the cleaning. There's a screen you will need to clean and scrub out with the included brush. My fastest cleaning time when I clean this machine is approximately 3 to 4 minutes. The other thing is that this has a 200-watt motor, which is actually quite powerful, and it's never failed me, okay? The other thing about the Nama J2 is actually less expensive than the Hurom, but Nama tends to not have as good of promotions as the Hurom. So since we're talking about promotions, I wanted to show you guys who I am and the promotion I'm going to share with you guys so you guys can get a discount on either of these two machines. My name is John Kohler and I started the website DiscountJuicers.com and my business over 25 years ago now to get you guys the lowest price on juicers, to literally cut out the middleman and also, more importantly, educate customers about the different juicers out there, because I was a customer once too and I still juice to this day for now 29 years. I wanted to know what's the best juicer and how are they different, how are they the same, and nobody was really doing that. So I started a business to do that, and now I have more videos on YouTube than anybody comparing juicers. I'm the #1 world's juicer expert that is self-proclaimed. Just look at all my videos. I juice more than probably anybody else on the planet anyways on YouTube, because I do drink 2 quarts to 3 quarts of juice in the summertime on a daily basis. That being said, I hold true to my name, Discount Juicers. I still work with the manufacturers to get you guys the very lowest price on any of the machines. So if my videos have helped you make the purchase decision and give you the information you need, I want to thank you guys for using my coupon codes, because I'm going to save you guys 10% off on the Nama J2 with coupon code GIANT10, because we're juicing a giant cucumber today. And of course, if you guys want to buy the Hurom H70, you guys could also use the coupon code GIANT10. That'll save you guys a minimum of 10% off. Although if Hurom is running a promotion that is better than 10% off, that coupon GIANT10 will give you a greater discount. So if my videos have helped you out, hey, help me out too by using that coupon code. It's much appreciated. So next up, we have the Hurom H70. Now this machine is more expensive than the Nama J2, but as I mentioned, Hurom actually has better promotions than Nama in some cases, although they both offer 10% off right now because you are watching my video. Probably the biggest downside to the Hurom H70 that I see is that it has a smaller carafe. Based on my measurements, it's 20% smaller than the Nama J2. And of course, you can buy the jumbo 3-liter hopper upgrade for the Nama J2 as well. The Hurom H70's main claim to fame and biggest benefit, and the reason why I like it, is because it has an easy clean screen. No scrubbing is required. I literally take this off and spray it off with a high pressure and it just totally is clean, and I don't even use any soap actually, so this is quite impressive to me. Links down below to my original unboxing of the H70 where I demonstrate the cleaning, as well as another video I'll link down below where I compare these two machines head to head. You know, I go over every single part and juice and make sorbet in both of them so you guys could have a really good understanding of how these compare. That being said, the H70, while it is easy clean, and that's what I love most about it, you know, I'm not the biggest fan that it doesn't make as much yield as the Nama J2 in my testing. And then the other thing is that it does tend to put more pulp in your juice compared to the Nama J2 in my testing. That being said, of course, you can buy a simple sieve at your local dollar store or kitchen store to basically remove the extra pulp should you not want it in your juice. Other things about the Hurom is that it has a 150-watt motor, And on my original test, when I compared these two, it basically took the same amount of time to juice 1 pound of leafy greens, although in some cases the H70 may take a little bit more time to process your fruits and vegetables. That's why we're doing this test today, and we're literally going to juice this whole cucumber in both machines. So what I'm going to do, actually we'll do it right now, is we're going to go ahead and cut this cucumber, and I'm going to try to cut it exactly in half. And we're going to put basically just pieces of the whole cucumber, not cut, into the machines to let them go to town to see how long it takes, if it works, if it gets clogged, how much pulp is in the juice, and how much yield it makes. So first step is, let's go ahead and try to cut this giant cucumber in half to the best of my ability. All right, there we go. So we have the cucumber in 2 identical halves. The next step is we're going to go ahead and do a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. All right, so now you can see we're doing a weigh-in, and we got 20551, 20551. So we have a fair fight. We have half the cucumber that's going to go into each of the juicers, and I'm putting in the seeds and all. Here's the thing, guys. Most of you guys will want to remove seeds if there's this many seeds from cucumbers or concentrated seeds like in a cantaloupe or honeydew melon. They may clog and jam some juicers. That being said, I'm doing a torture test today to see if either of these juicers could handle this and how long it takes to juice, because this is where the pedal hits the metal, right? Doing leafy greens or doing other things, right? These machines may work fine, but doing specialty items that does have a propensity to clog other juicers, I want to see which one of these juicers can handle it and which one may not. All right, so let's go ahead and remove these off the scales and let's get set up to juice. All right, so we're all ready and set up to juice. We're going to go ahead and time this. Now, the other thing I want to say is a major difference between the J2 and the Hurom H70 is the space it will take up on your counter. The NAMA kind of goes wide. It has the outlet for the juice and the outlet on the pulp on the opposite side. So this gets kind of long on your counter. So if your counter space is kind of short, this may not work for you unless you turn it this direction so that the juice comes out the front and the pulp comes out the back. Meanwhile, I personally like the design on the Hurom where the juice comes out the front and then at a right angle, the pulp comes out. This is a lot more convenient to me and how juicers have been made, whereas NAMA was the first juicer to come out on both sides to make it a lot longer. On some levels that might be good, but I really like the format of this one personally, all right? So what we're gonna do is I basically have this little tool here and I've lifted up the hoppers so I could see, like, if I put this in the J2 hopper, it goes all the way to here. So that shows me the depth of the J2 hopper. But if I put it in here, it only goes up to like here. So the hopper on the H70 is a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the length of the cucumber accordingly so it's not too tall, so it does fit in the hopper. And we're just going to go ahead and cut this off into even sections, starting with the stem end of the cucumber. All right, so we're going to go ahead and load up each of the pieces of cucumber in the hopper, and it looks like we could fit another half of cucumber in the hopper on both machines. So let's go ahead and cut more cucumber and load it on up. All right, I do have to say that the H70 hopper is a little more narrow, while the J2 has a little notch that impedes loading in the back. The H70 has a notch in the front, so to me that's like a wash, but we're just going to see if we could reposition these pieces of cucumber to fully fit in both of the machines. All right, this side almost fits, and let's see if we could drop this guy in there somehow. All right, I think we got it. And then now I do like on the H70 that even if you overfill it, you could cram this down, it'll still lock. On the J2, it does have a propensity to pop up sometimes. All right, so we got both of the pieces of the cucumber loaded. Now we're going to go ahead and hit the start button on the stopwatch, and we're going, and we're going to go ahead and turn both juicers on. All right, both juicers are working, and is anything juicing? These are extra large pieces of cucumber that I purposely did not cut to see if the machine will be able to chop them up into smaller pieces and it looks like both machines are not doing it. So we're gonna go ahead and stop. All right, so both machines failed at just juicing cucumbers that we put unprecut. So I guess we will have to pre-cut this into smaller pieces so that they will juice properly. Definitely the larger hopper on the J2 does make this more convenient. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut this piece in half once and then do 2 slices to cut it into 6 pieces. We're gonna do that on both pieces. All right, because we are cutting it into pieces now, we can fill the hopper a little bit more. So we're gonna go ahead and cut more of this cucumber off and load it in the hopper. All right, I think the J2 is loaded and ready to go. Next up, let's go ahead and cut up the produce in the H70. All right, due to the hopper is smaller on the H70, we're not able to put really any extra pieces in there. However, we were able to fit all the cucumber. So knowing that everything is pre-cut, let's go ahead and once again hit start and get it going, and we're gonna go ahead and turn both juicers on. All right, we got juice out of the NAMA J2 and we got juice coming out of the H70. So what I think I will do is I will continue to cut these up, and we're just gonna go ahead and drop it into the feed chute of each juicer as it's running, and we're gonna see which one of these juicers finishes first. So as you guys can see, the NAMA J2 has finished first, so it definitely took less time in this episode to juice all the cucumber. The pulp just totally fell out, nothing got clogged or jammed in the NAMA J2, and we got all the juice out. Looks like we're about at 5 minutes and 20 seconds. We're gonna go ahead and let it continue to drip a little bit longer, but as you guys can see, the Hurom H70 is still working. This may be because the Hurom H70 runs at like 60 RPM, so it's moving a little bit faster, and the hole that allows the produce to drop in is a little bit smaller than the J2 that runs at a slower speed of 50 RPMs and has a larger hole, so things tend to drop down into that hole a little bit more quickly. All right, so it looks like we're done on the NAMA J2, and we're just gonna go ahead and let the Hurom H70 finish on up. All right, it looks like we got one final piece of produce in the Hurom H70 that's just spinning around. It's like, seems to be missing the hole. Oh, it's actually stuck on the auger, so we're gonna drop that in and let it continue. And it looks like it has juiced completely everything. The way to know for sure is when the pulp stops moving out the pulp port, which it pretty much has. So we're gonna go ahead and hit stop. It took 7 minutes and 2 seconds, so that's over 1.5 minutes longer to juice the same amount in the Hurom H70, although the cleaning will take you 2 to 3 times less time. So maybe with the cleaning time and the juicing time, I'm going to say that you're still a little bit ahead with the Hurom, okay? So let's go ahead and shut that juicer off, and of course on both machines I always like to tip it up, get any final drips of juice out of the machine. We're going to go ahead and close the spout cap on the Hurom H70. Once again, get the drips out, close the spout cap. Now I do need to let you guys know on the Hurom H70, even after I close the spout cap, it does tend to drip on me, whereas that does not happen on the NAMA J2. Once again, you know, each one of these juicers have their own sets of pros and cons, and I make these videos so that you can determine which machine will work best for you so that you can become a juicer for life. Which juicer would you prefer to use? One that maybe takes 1.5 minutes less, or one that takes 1.5 minutes longer? One that takes 2 to 3 times more to clean, or one that takes 2 to 3 times less to clean? Anyways, in this part of the video, let's go ahead and compare the yields that we made. All right, so now I want to go ahead and give you guys a close-up on the yields. As you guys can see, the juices look very similar. I want to show you guys the top first. Over on the Hurom H70, you guys can see we have a good fair bit amount of foam. I'm going to definitely say the foam on the H70 is a little bit more than what's on the J2. The J2 looks to be like a finer foam, so it's like the air bubbles are smaller, whereas on the foam on the H70, they are larger. So I might say that the Hurom H70 maybe puts more air into the juice, which may lower the nutrition a little bit more. So there's the look at both tops. Now if we go down to the sides, this is a bit more interesting there. You guys can see over on the Nama J2, you guys can't really see the markings, but we're right below the 6 cup mark on the J2, right below it. And then of course above it, we have the foam layer. This is, you know, pretty much an even differentiation. You guys could see we go from juice to foam, and you could see a little bit of particulate in the juice. Meanwhile, we go over to Hurom H70. It's very interesting. Number one, I mean, look at the juice color. The juice color on the H70 seems to be a tad bit lighter than on the J2, which is interesting. And also on the H70, the interesting thing is there's you know, the differentiation is more difficult to see. So maybe the juice line goes up to about the 5 cup mark, and then we have a whole nother cup of, I'm not sure, because that doesn't exactly look like foam. It looks like a thick juice. And then we're actually a little bit above the 6 quart mark. And then above that, we have like a foam layer. So it's like layered. So there's like 3 different layers. You know, and this is basically what you're going to get when you get a screenless machine. You know, you can't really classify because it's going to put a lot more particulate into the juice, which some of you guys may like, but some of you guys may not like. And also, you know, to me in this test, it looks like that there's a lot more pulp in there. So although the yields may seem to be similar and the Hurom even winning, let's go ahead and remove the pulp to see where we're at. All right, so next up, let's go ahead and strain both of these juices. So today to strain them, we're going to use some Blendtec carafes that have ounce markings so we can get an exact amount after straining. And then we got 2 identical sieves that'll fit right on the top. I wish Blendtec sold these carafes. They're one of the best inventions ever made. That being said, they were discontinued, unfortunately. All right, so let's go ahead and first pour out the Nama J2 juice and sieve it all out. As you guys can see, it's going really well, not having a lot of pulp in the Nama J2 juice as of yet. As we get to the bottom, we are getting a little bit more. And a whole bunch more pulp now. All right, there we go. This was not bad to strain out at all in the Nama J2. There seems to be, to me, an acceptable amount of pulp in the juice. All right, next up, let's go ahead and strain out the Hurom H70 pulp. It just seems that this container seems to be a lot more heavy than the J2. So if I was to weigh these, the Hurom may appear to win because the juice is heavier, because it put more pulp in the juice, which weighs more than the juice itself. So let's go ahead and start pouring this out. Not too bad on the pulp so far. Not too bad at all, actually. But now that we are getting closer to the bottom, looks like more pulp is being put in there. But actually, it's fairly impressive. Although it made a lot of layers and put a lot of air into the juice, doesn't seem to be all that much pulp, so this would be quite interesting, actually. It's done a lot better than I thought it would. Never underestimate the Hurom juicers. Hurom has been in business now for 50 years, and about 20 years ago, they literally invented the vertical auger juicer style. All right, so let's go ahead and shake both of these sieves out to get all the juice out. All right, there you guys have it. We got the pulp out of both machines, and actually, interestingly enough, they look to be very similar. So actually, let's go ahead and get the scale out. All right, so as you guys can see, we got the scale set up, and now we're gonna go ahead and weigh the pulps. First, we're gonna weigh the J2 pulp. My estimation is that the J2 has less pulp in it than the H70. As you guys can see, we have a total of 23.9 grams of pulp generated in the Nama J2. I think this is quite impressive because cucumbers can tend to put more pulp in the juice. Only put 23.9. Let's go ahead and tear this scale out. So we're comparing 23.9 versus 27.6, guys. So this is not a significant more amount of pulp. In this case, which cucumbers can create a pulpy juice, especially due to the texture, much like apples, 3 grams more of pulp, right? So is that a big deal for you guys? Only you can answer. That being said, I will say what is a bit bigger deal for me is that there was more foam, especially when I put it through a sieve. If I tapped down the sieve really hard, the foam went through the sieve And if I did a light sieve, which I didn't do because I wanted to see the pulp in the sieve, you know, the foam actually went through. So let's go ahead and now compare these side to side in precise measuring containers. All right, check this out, guys. This is very interesting on this test now, how this is going. I mean, the number one thing I want you guys to notice is the color of the juice. We literally cut the cucumber in half and juiced both halves in each machine. If you guys look at the bottom of the Hurom juice, it's a little bit more light in color. If we go over to the J2 juice, you guys can see it's a little bit more greenish, whereas this one is a bit more yellowish. So that is actually quite interesting. So something's happening in each of the juicers. You know, in the J2, it looks like we got a bit more of the pigments out, which in my opinion is a good thing. But let's go to the yields. So on the J2 now, you could clearly see the foam line, which is right there, and it's literally right at 46 ounces of juice. And then we got maybe like 2 ounces or 4 ounces of foam above it, maybe like 3.75 ounces of foam above it. Meanwhile, over on the Hurom, let's go ahead and check it out. And I'm so glad for these precise measuring containers. Look at that, guys. We're up at 48, 49, maybe 49 and 0.75. So almost 50 ounces of juice, guys, in the H70. This is quite impressive. I often say that the J2 is going to make more yield than the H70. And I could say in many cases it will, but in this case, it definitely did not. And so you guys could clearly see the yield. I mean, also, of course, it did make about another 4 ounces of foam. All right, guys, so that was definitely an upset in my book. I did not expect the Hurom H70 to actually beat the NAMA J2 in yield by just a few ounces. And also, of course, while I did put more pulp in the juice, it was 3 measly grams. You know, while it did take about 1.5 minutes longer to juice, you know, now when I clean this, it'll literally take me a minute to clean. I've done this several times. Links down below to my videos on that. Whereas when I clean the J2, generally it takes me 4 minutes. If I really want to do it super quick, I can maybe do it in 3 with minimal scrubbing. But if I'm going to scrub the juicer, I'm going to scrub it down really good. Meanwhile, the Hurom company says you can just spray this down, and I don't even use soap. So far, I haven't got any mineral buildup on it like I do on my J2. That being said, I have been using the J2 significantly longer than I have the Hurom, so I'm waiting for the mineral buildup if it will happen. So next up, we're going to go ahead and taste test the juice. First up, we're going to go ahead and taste test the Hurom juice. Wow, that's nice and pleasant and sweet. Once again, I did put it through the sieve. Really nice texture. Let's go ahead and try the J2 juice. To your health. I mean, I can't taste any significant difference between these two juices, despite the NAMA J2 juice being a little bit more darker in color. So that's kind of interesting. Also, I do want to say that the foam on the top is a bit more yellowish than greenish, and I'm not exactly sure what that is about. I was wondering maybe it could be oxidation due to more air bubbles put in. I am not really sure. But what I am sure about is that these machines make a very similar quality juice. And each of these machines have their own sets of pros and cons. When you don't mind the extra cleaning, clearly the NAMA J2 is the way to go. If you don't mind a smaller hopper, but an easier time cleaning, 2 to 3 times less time, like literally it takes me a minute, and in this case more yield. Maybe in other cases it may be tied, or maybe the J2 will make more yield, right? It really just depends on what specifically you are juicing, and I was quite impressed on how well the Hurom H70 actually did in this episode. Now that I'm ready to clean both machines, I will tell you straight up that I'm looking forward to cleaning the H70, because literally there is no scrubbing required, and I'm not looking forward to cleaning the NAMA J2 quite as much. I will say that there is a little bit of particulate left in the J2 hopper, whereas on the Hurom H70, the hopper is more clean. So at the end of this episode, right, I always like to declare a winner, And in this episode, to me, it's a tough one because each of these machines have their own sets of pros and cons, but just looking at the results, I'm going to have to go ahead and give it to the H70 as the winner. This, to me, is an upset. It actually made more juice, put 3 grams more of pulp in the juice. Although it did take about a minute and a half longer, it's going to be easier cleaning because I know easier cleaning and cleaning your juicer is a pain point. And especially after I juice a gallon or 2 of juice, I don't want to sit there and scrub the juicer and think, oh man, now I got to clean the juicer and do a really good job at it. This one I literally just spray off. So if you guys want to buy either of these 2 machines at the lowest price, make sure you guys use the coupon code GIANT10 at namawell.com or GIANT10 at Hurom.com. It'll save you guys 10% off on the Nama J2, which is $55 in the USA, 10% off around the world, including free shipping to the US, 48 states, free shipping to the European Union. Of course, the code GIANT10 at Hurom.com, which is only for the USA, will save you guys a minimum of 10% off and maybe even more depending if there is a better promotion at the time. My coupon codes will always give you the best discount. So no matter what juicer you buy, I'm here to share with you guys the truth on what happens, right? I have no brand favorites, you know. Both Hurom and Nama pays me a small commission when you guys use my coupon codes. Most influencers out there are paid by either Hurom or Nama, and I am paid by both of them. So I could really care less which one you buy. I'm just here to share with you guys the details on what happens when you use even amounts of produce in both machines. Of course, you want to also watch my detailed over 1 hour video where I compare these guys head to head so you guys could learn more about the differences between these machines because there are pros and cons to each of them and I want you guys to have the best information to make the most informed choice. So if you guys enjoyed this episode today, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. More importantly, share this video with other people that are interested in buying one of the best vertical hopper juicers on the market. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my new and upcoming episodes. I've coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know what new juicer comparisons, what new juicer unboxings, new vacuum blender unboxings or comparisons I'll be doing, or sharing with you guys other appliances that allow you to process more plant foods so that you could be healthier. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check past episodes. Past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 800 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to teach you guys all about the different juicers and equipment that will allow you to eat more plants. Links down below to some of my favorite videos I've made in the past with the Nama J2, as well as videos I've made in the past about the Hurom H70. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors. So before I sign off today, I want to remind you guys that the Nama Black Friday sale is now on, only good for 4 days. You're going to get the lowest price on the Nama J2 all year. This is the lowest price they ever sell the Nama for. So if you've been waiting for the Nama J2, now is the time to buy with the $80 off promotion code coupon CYBERSALE at namawell.com. But wait, it gets even better because of course Hurom is also having their Black Friday sale, also good only for a few more days, where you guys can save an additional 10% on their already low Black Friday prices. So if you guys use the coupon code BF10, you guys are going to get the Hurom H70 for the amazingly low price of $431.10, which is approximately $40 less than the J2. As you guys saw in this episode, in this particular juice test, the Hurom H70 made a little bit more juice than the Nama J2. Of course, the cleaning is going to be only 1 minute, where the cleaning on the J2, the fastest I could go is 3.5 minutes, but I really like to take my time and do a good job cleaning. It takes me about 4 to 5 minutes. I mean, that is really where the rubber meets the road and why you would want to buy the Hurom H70. If you don't juice because you've owned other juicers before, but they're too hard to clean, right? Then you want to go for the H70 because this is the easiest to clean juicer that makes the highest yield, that is a good quality juicer. I've known this for many years because, as a matter of fact, Hurom makes the juicers for Nama that Nama sells. That being said, the biggest downside of the Hurom juicers has been its 2-year short warranty on the juicer parts and longer 10-year warranty on the motor. But that is no more, because as of a few days ago, Hurom announced that their models H70, which includes this one here, their H400 and their H320 models now have a full 15-year warranty. So I'm so glad that Hurom has now expanded their warranty to 15 years on the whole machine. And honestly, guys, that was the reason for my hesitation with the Hurom H70. I really love it because it's easy to clean, and in my opinion, it pretty much gets similar performance. I mean, in some cases the J2 will win, some cases the H70 win, most cases the J2 will put less pulp in your juice. I mean, I definitely don't like the smaller hopper on the H70. You get a little bit larger hopper on the J2 that comes with factory. Of course, you can buy the additional 3-liter hopper attachment for additional cost. That being said, my heart is literally won over by the cleaning process of the H70, because after I'm juicing a lot of produce, and yes, it may take longer because the hopper's smaller, because the juicer takes a bit longer to work, as you guys saw in this video. So clearly, guys, each machine has its own pros and cons, and right now you guys are going to get the lowest price on either machine next 4 days only. So make a decision whichever one you guys buy. And what I will tell you guys is this: if I was to buy a machine today, and I know what I know today, and using the juicers that I've used for, several years for the NAMA J2, and, this machine just came out earlier this year, and I've had it for several months now. I mean, and especially including the prices, the Black Friday discount prices. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer now to buy the H70, because literally the warranty is now the same as the NAMA J2. The cleaning is easier than the NAMA J2. Yeah, smaller hopper. Maybe it's going to take you guys a little bit longer to juice, but you're going to save that time up in cleaning. Of course, it depends how much you're going to juice. NAMA still has got the better hopper, but I do find that this hopper, due to the shape, it seems to be a little more efficient in actually getting the hopper emptied. This is really apparent when I rejuice pulp, which I may have a future video showing you guys rejuicing pulp in both machines to share with you guys the results. Nonetheless, I want you guys to take advantage of these Black Friday sale deals, because the prices never get this low. Once again, CYBERSALE at NAMAWell.com will save you guys $80 off the NAMA J2. And for the Hurom H70, you guys want to use a coupon code BF10 at Hurom.com. We'll save you guys 10% off additional off their already low Black Friday prices.